Cool. Oh, wow. We got up to 30 so fast. Ooh, you guys are so punctual.
Go to Reefs. Así se dice.
That works. All right. I think you could probably get started, Alana.
Amazing. Okay, yay. I'm so excited to see all you guys today. We're going to talk about a couple of things first. So we're going to talk about two things today. We're going to do coral reefs, which I'm sure you guys have heard that word a couple times in the past minute or so. And we're going to talk about some social media accounts I thought you guys could check out if you have social media. If not, that's totally cool. But first of all, I just kind of want to check in with you guys and see how you're doing. So, ooh, I'm kind of blocking one of these here, aren't I? Oops, excuse me, guys. Sorry, I'm a little new to this. Was that you, Kayla?
Nope.
There we go. Okay. Everyone just kind of take a minute, look at this, see which one you're kind of feeling this week. Are you feeling like proud of something you did? Feeling a little silly today? Nice. Someone's feeling proud. Oh, I'm happy to see it.
I just like the pets.
You just like that little guy? Yeah, he's cute. He's we can actually talk about him one day. He's a very interesting creature.
I want to talk to him.
Excited, happy. Oh, I see someone circled sad. Well, whoever circled sad, hang on at the end and we can talk about it. I'm glad to see no one circling stressed. For me, I'm super excited. I'm gonna circle that one.
I guess sometimes stress, so I'm proud and stressed at the same time.
What was that?
I guess it's stress sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah. School can get stressful, crazy things going on.
Can you see in the chat?
But I'm seeing a lot of positive ones too.
Can you see in the chat?
The chat? No, I didn't see it. I'm feeling silly for sure. Silly, excited, proud, happy. Oh my God, I'm loving this. This is great, guys. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next immediately. So,
Jackie, you have your hand raised. Did you want to say something?
I'm actually at my grandma's house and she has fish.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. This is gonna be a really great lesson for you then. Okay, cool. What kind of fish does she have?
There's like a bunch of fish there. One of them is really big, and then there's like two that are pink, and then there's another one that's kind of like a goldfish.
Ooh, pink and goldfish. I like that. That sounds really pretty. All right, so we are gonna move on to the next.
I'm feeling that.
Or my
I'm
computer.
feeling excited, silly, happy, and proud.
So I'm glad to hear that everyone's doing pretty well. These
I
are.
know what's a coral reef.
What was that?
I know what's a coral reef.
You know what a coral reef is?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. We're gonna get to that in just a second. Okay, when that slide comes up, it's all you. You can start.
I know it's this.
These are just some social media accounts I thought you guys could check out. So I don't know how many of you guys have Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, but it's a really cool place to learn about things that you're interested in. And so I brought up some cool ones that you can see really beautiful pictures of nature or learn about different animals. And I kind of checked them out and they all seem pretty cool and pretty kid friendly. So I can send them out to you guys if you want, and you can ask your grown up at home if you have social media, if you can follow these accounts. Over here, Autumn Pelche is the girl that we learned about last week, and she has an Instagram account and it's super cool. So I thought you guys might enjoy that. We also got National Geographic, which is like a really famous magazine. Animal Planet, you can learn about animals. Discovery Channel, I don't know, a bunch of cool ones. So feel free to check those out. And so we are moving on to coral reefs. So who just was talking and said that they knew what coral reefs were?
Me, Araceli.
Oh, Arsley, there you are. Okay, so what are coral reefs?
Coral reefs are how do you pronounce it? Almost in oceans, there's fishes, octopus, and all that animal, and they have shelters. There's a lot of different colors about coral reef.
Well, you just taught the whole lesson. That was so good. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That was incredible. You actually just described the next picture. That's so cool. So this is a coral reef, guys. So as you can see, like Araceli said, it's really, really beautiful. They're underwater. I know you guys can kind of see the side there, so I'm sorry about that. But there's tons of beautiful different types of fish, and there's a lot of vibrant colors, and it's underwater, and they're really, really beautiful. So I'm super excited to kind of explore them a little bit today. So I don't know how much you guys know about coral, but I wanted to see, what do you guys think it is? An animal, a rock, or a plant? So if you look back at this is coral. Do you think it's an animal, a rock, or a plant? I heard someone say plant. Who thinks it's an animal?
Plant.
Got a lot of votes for plant. Got one vote for animal.
Plant. It's plant. It's plant. It's plant. It's plant. Oh.
Wow. Ooh, okay. I see someone guessing too. You can't do that. That's cheating.
It's not in the book of is that the book of cheats?
I am actually about to disappoint some people. It is an animal. Coral is an animal. It's kind of crazy.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
How is it?
Julia is waiting in the lobby.
Oh, I'll let her in.
I just let everybody in. There are a few
Okay,
people.
cool. Thank you for letting us know.
So is Calvin.
Don't worry, Kayla's on top of it.
Yeah, so is Alex. So is he.
Don't worry, guys. Kayla's got
I'm in here.
So
How is it a plant? How is it an animal? Tell me. I have
I'm
a
about
ton
to dive
of questions.
into that. So clear all drawings. Da da da.
My whole life has been a lie. I thought it's been a.
It's an
That is
animal.
not a
Plant
plant.
the whole time.
It's actually an animal and a plant.
So it's
Yeah.
an animal.
It's
My whole
actually
life was.
both.
We're
actually
about to get into that. So
My whole life was a lie,
coral
Mama.
reef first.
I thought coral.
And but yet it also lives.
Can everybody mute themselves? There we go. Okay, cool. So a coral reef is an underwater ecosystem characterized by reef-building corals. So corals are the animals that build the entire reef. And some other animals besides coral live there, like fish, and we're gonna get into all the different animals later. So some animals live there, and then some just travel through and kind of rest there. So if you think about it, it's like a city, the way that like we all live in a city, but also people fly into New York and they stay there on vacation, or they'll have a layover there on a flight. So it's kind of the same deal. So some animals stay in coral reefs their entire lives, and some just kind of pass through, like pick up a little snack. So we're gonna watch this quick video.
Coral reefs. Their bright, vivid colors can be seen in tropical ocean waters around the globe. Beyond their brilliant appearance lies a hidden significance. Coral are animals. Though they may look like colorful plants, coral are in fact made up of tiny animals called polyps. These invertebrates can range from the size of a pin
I can't hear.
Me neither.
Me too.
It had volume and now it doesn't.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Colonies grow.
Maybe maybe
Oh, it's back up.
They join with other colonies and become reefs that can grow to hundreds of miles long. The largest coral reef is Australia's Great Barrier Reef, which began growing about 20,000 years ago. Coral reefs are some of the most diverse ecosystems on Earth. Though they cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, coral reefs are home to 25% of all marine creatures. It's been estimated that up to 2 million species inhabit coral reefs, rivaling the biodiversity of the rainforest. The reefs provide rich habitat that helps protect young fish as they grow. Coral are translucent. Coral reefs get their rainbow of colors from algae or zooxanthellae that live in their tissue. Though corals use their tentacles to capture some food, most of their food comes from the algae they house. When coral becomes stressed by pollution or other factors, they evict their algae. Coral bleaching results, revealing corals' white skeletons.
Oh my God.
Corals provide a window to the past. As coral grow, their limestone skeletons form layers similar to tree rings that vary in composition and thickness based on ocean conditions at the time. With some coral reefs growing for thousands or even millions of years, scientists can study these layers to reveal what the Earth's climate may have been like in the ancient past. Unfortunately, climate change is putting corals' future in danger, along with the millions of species that inhabit the reefs and the 500 million people that rely on reef fish for food. Warming waters result in prolonged coral bleaching that kill coral reefs or leave them vulnerable to other threats. Without significant action on climate change, our oceans could lose many of their colorful reefs by the end of the century.
Right. So, does anyone have any questions about the video?
That was cool.
I couldn't see it.
You couldn't see it? Okay, well, I can send it to you if you want after the class, and you can watch it again. I'll send you guys the links to all these videos.
Okay.
So we are getting into why coral is an animal, not a plant. So coral is from a small animal called a polyp, just like a really funny
Oh,
name.
wait, can I explain this? I know everything about coral. Please?
Yeah, go for it.
So coral is an animal because people, you know how people originally thought it was a plant at first? I will wait for answers.
Yeah, people did think it was a plant.
Yeah, but when they first discovered that the plant was not a plant, that it was an animal, they thought that, oh wow, it's an animal. Maybe we should learn more about this. And so later on, they developed things like scuba diver suits and things that could help them breathe underwater, and waterproof cameras to help them learn more.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, no, you got it. You really do
I
know.
learned it all in school, literally. Some of it actually self-taught. Most of it actually self-taught.
Dude, that's awesome. I love to hear that. If you're interested about something, you should totally learn more about it. Teaching yourself something is super, super cool. But yeah, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. A lot of people got underwater cameras and got to study them a bunch, and that led to me.
Yeah, and they still really do want to learn more about it.
Cool. I'm glad you came today then. It was the right day to come.
Yeah.
So for anyone who might still be a little bit lost, polyps live, we're going to talk about polyps a little bit. So they're like, coral is the whole structure, and see this like hard part here, and polyps are the animals that live on top. And then once polyps have lived their whole life and they die, they become the hard layer. So they harden and more polyps grow on top of them. So it forms this kind of layering type thing. Does anyone have any questions about that? Oh, it looks like there's some in the chat maybe. No, everyone's good. Okay, cool. So, there's a big word in the video called zooxanthellae, and they talked a little bit about it. That's the algae that lives inside the coral. So all this algae lives inside the coral, and it produces oxygen, and it produces nutrients like carbohydrates and sugars and things that all animals need to live. And then the algae, like a tree, like all the plants, likes carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide that the polyp produces is eaten up by the algae. And then the algae is safe and gets tons of food inside the coral and the polyp. And the polyp gets tons of food from the algae. And this is called a symbiotic relationship. And there's tons of really cool relationships like this in coral reefs. And we're going to go into it a little bit more later. But that's how coral reefs kind of get their food and survive, is this really cool friendship that they have with this algae, which has this crazy long name. So this is where you can kind of see the zooxanthellae. Try saying that 5 times fast.
No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's a hard one. I have to practice a little bit.
I put something in the chat for everyone.
Oh, you put something in the
Please
chat.
don't make fun of me.
Why would I ever make fun of you?
No, like that in a joking way. I was joking.
Okay. Well, it is hard to say, so it's true. So this is a good picture of the zooxanthellae living inside of the polyp.
Question mark. I cannot pronounce that. Not even in my head. How do you pronounce it?
Practice it a little bit. Maybe by next week you'll be able to do it.
I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, you have it right there, zooxanthellae. So this is just a really good picture of the zooxanthellae produces. Dang it. There we go. Oxygen, sugar, and fats, which is just like the things that all animals need: oxygen, sugar, and fat to live.
I think I got it.
And the polyp produces carbon dioxide, phosphorus, and nitrogen. And phosphorus and nitrogen are just 2 different types of gases that algae really like.
Gases like farts.
That's a silly name for them, but yeah.
Gases like farts. That was funny.
So, coral eats 2 things. It eats algae, and it also eats plankton. Which, can anyone think of somewhere that they've seen plankton before?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Did you know? Was that a hand raise? Oh no, that was a head scratch. Well, a bunch of animals in the ocean eat plankton. Whales eat plankton, fish eat plankton, and they're just these tiny little, they're just these like very tiny little creatures that swim around. And if any of you have ever seen SpongeBob, Plankton is a pretty big character. So that's what he's named after, is these little guys. So I know we saw in the video a little bit a map of where coral reefs are, but there's 3 really important rules to where coral reefs grow. They have to be in clear tropical ocean, because sun is really important to them getting the nutrients that they need. So the water needs to be really, really clear so that the sun can come in. It's usually on the eastern part of a landmass. So I don't know if you guys remember from the video, but the Great Barrier Reef was on the eastern side of Australia, and somewhere where there's lots of waves. So that's why it's usually in shallow water, because the waves will like bring in new, clean, fresh water and tons of nutrients, and like kind of take away all the old water that doesn't really have anything left. So a lot of moving water is important. So looking at this map, you guys can draw on it. Where do you think some places that reefs might be? Think it has to be warm, it has to be shallow. And here, I can draw on here for you guys the equator. Draw. This is the equator, like somewhere in here. It's not a very good equator, sorry. But the equator is the part of the earth that's the warmest. So if you look at the equator, where it's always going to be really warm, and you think of some oceans that are really warm and tropical, cool. Pacific, Atlantic, definitely. Where's some countries that you think might have coral?
I can't draw. I can't draw.
Oh, that's okay. Say in the chat. I'll check out what you think.
Say.
Whoop. South America? Heck yeah.
Didn't you like that?
Atlantic Ocean is a lot of Atlantic Ocean.
Isabella, John. Where is Jose?
Can I be honest? You sound very depressed. You sound very depressed. No. One of the kids did a voice. They sounded.
Well, that's okay. Here, I'll just go through and mute everyone. Sometimes you get unmuted, and there we go. Great job, guys. Yeah, no, you're totally killing it. This is all right. So, whoop, let me.
Oh my God!
I have a map here. This, where all the pink is. Don't worry, we'll let him in. We'll let him in. So, whoop. All right. You guys don't have to draw anymore. This is already drawn on. So, I don't see.
What do you need, Alana?
All right, guys, so if you look at this map, all this pink is where the coral reefs are. So if you look, there are a lot along shore. They're in these really warm waters. There's a lot over here in the Pacific Ocean, along Australia. So along all of these island nations are where a lot of coral reefs are. So if you guys look down at this list, take a good look at this map. This is North America, this is South America, this is Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. And here's the Arctic and the Antarctic. Looking at that map, where doesn't have a coral reef? So circle just one. Does anyone have any ideas? Antarctica, okay. Hawaii. Antarctica, someone said the US, interesting. Japan, interesting. Whoop. All right, a lot of good guesses. So the answer is Antarctica. Antarctica is the only place in this list that doesn't have a coral reef, because all the other countries have a shoreline, are in warm enough waters. There's coral reefs in Florida, in Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean. Puerto Rico is part of the US, Japan, Chile, Hawaii has tons of really cool coral reefs. Hawaii is part of the US too, so maybe that wasn't a good answer option on my part. But yeah, that wasn't supposed to be a trick question. That was my bad. But yeah, so there's coral reefs literally all over the world, anywhere where it's warm enough. So everywhere except Antarctica and like Northern Europe, all along that middle band of the country. Oh, there we go. Okay. So moving on, there's 3 different types of coral reefs. There's fringe reefs, which is this first picture up here. See how it fringes the island? It's like a fringe on a jacket or something. It's kind of attached, but it sticks out a little bit. And then there's barrier reefs, which are a little bit further offshore, and they're called barrier reefs because they're kind of a barrier between the ocean and the landmass. And then there's something called an atoll, which is out kind of in the middle of the ocean. And it got in shallow, and these really cool rings form. So this is an atoll. There's this central, what's called a lagoon in the middle, and this is all coral, and it forms this kind of island, and it's super interesting. It's super cool. So one of the most famous barrier reefs is the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. This is what it looks like from above, and you can actually see it from space. That's how big it is. Like astronauts can see it when they're out in space and they're looking down at Australia. This is where it is right here, this whole part of Australia. So it's like half the eastern side. It's huge. And if you were to take it and put it other places in the world, this is how big it would be. So it's like bigger than most of Europe, which is crazy. And it's the entire west coast of the US. It's bigger than like California and Washington and Oregon all put together. So it's huge, and it's just a coral reef. That's really cool. And this is what it looks like from space. This isn't even like a very colorized photo. It just kind of glows like that because it's so like shallow, and the sun reflects off it like that. So that's really cool. Oh, it looks like we got some stuff in the chat. Let me check on that real quick. Okay. So how long does coral live for? We talked about it being an animal. So the actual lifespan of coral isn't very long, the little polyps, but the coral reef lives for a really long time. So coral reefs grow at like 1 to 2 centimeters per year. And centimeters are so small, centimeters like this big. So 1 or 2, maybe a year. So some of these really big towering coral reefs that we've seen today have taken 30 million years to form. That's a really long, long time. That's longer than any of the land masses still, like how they are set up today. 30 million years is a really long time. So they're super old and super cool, and that's why they can learn so much about history from them. So this is the lifespan of a coral, of a polyp. And you can kind of see that it looks really similar to a jellyfish, which is kind of cool because you wouldn't think like coral don't really look like jellyfish, but they're actually really close cousins. And you can kind of see that in their life cycle here, where they kind of, how they grow and then they attach again. And jellyfish also come from a polyp. So they both come from polyps, and it's really cool. It's super interesting. And there are so many different types of coral too. This is some of the types of coral. And there's so many, it's 2 slides worth. That's how many different types there are. You can kind of look at them, and some of them form looking like fingers, and some of them form looking like waves, like this. That looks like a beautiful fan. And some of them form looking like brain, and some of them look like rocks, and it's crazy how many different types of coral there are. And these are a close-up of my 4 favorite. I just think these ones are the prettiest. I think sun coral is the most beautiful one. It flows really beautifully, and brain coral I think is super cool and silly and weird. So taking what we know about coral so far, I thought that we could do this word search. So everyone, before they draw, take a minute. Don't ruin it for anybody yet. Give everyone a second to kind of look and see if they can find any of these words. And then at 5:03, if you look at your screen, 5:03, you can circle one.
Alana, can you press present on your screen so that we can see it bigger?
Yes.
On the right side next to share.
Yeah, I can. There we go. Oh, I'm glad to see you guys think it's so cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's crazy. All right. So if you guys want, if you think you found a word, feel free to go ahead and circle it now. You can take your little annotate guy and see. Ooh, sea anemone, so strong right out of the gate. That's a hard one. I can cross that off for you. Don't worry. Right here, cross that off for you. Has anyone found it? Ooh, scallop, nice. My mom loves scallops. They're actually very tasty. I've never had a sea anemone though. I can't say if they're tasty or not. Does anyone else see any other ones? Does, yeah, that's not one of the words, but that is a word. I'll give you a point for that one. Does anyone see any, maybe if you look right above sea anemone? Ray? Oh, where's Ray? Jellyfish, nice, someone found it. Oh, that's so good. Blowfish. What? Elliot, if you're able to, you should get some pictures of that and share with everyone. That'd be so cool. Do you actually mind sharing what a phytoplankton culture is? I didn't find that. Nice, guys. Yeah, zooplankton is one of them. That's amazing. You guys are really good at these. You always find them so fast. Dang, guys, Elliot's uncle's really cool. We should have had him on here today. That would have been awesome. Sea star, blowfish, nice. Seems like a couple people found that one. Run. Yeah, run isn't one of the words, but it is a word. I like that you guys find those anyway. Nice, guys. Okay, it seems like we got a good amount of them. Yeah, that one looks like it's about to be conch, and then it doesn't. Really cool. Okay, so no, not yet. All right, cool. I'm glad you guys think it's cool. All right, so I'm gonna clear this stuff. Thank you guys. All right, so we're gonna talk about the animals of the coral reef next. So we're gonna start out with these three. These are the smallest animals. Sometimes the clams get pretty big, but there's something called sea cucumbers, snails, and clams. So these are the sea cucumbers. They're actually a different type of slug. They don't really look like cucumbers. I don't know where the name came from. But these are hermit crabs. Or these are the snails. I'm sorry, the snails, not the hermit crabs. And then this is the clam, which is just so pretty. I think these clams are beautiful. I've seen clams all over the shore in New York, and none of our clams look like these. Then we also have sponges, which is this guy right here. Sea anemones, which is this right here, which any of you have ever been to California, they're all over the shore and they're super beautiful. And then starfish, which are right here. Oh, this is cool. Okay, let's see. So this is Elliot's. Oh, wow, this is so cool. So people grow their own phytoplankton. So people like Elliot's uncle get really, really into this, and they have this whole kit, and dang, that is expensive. He must really love doing this. That's super cool. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Elliot. That's crazy. Look how much that takes, guys. What? Okay, so, and then these animals are my favorite animals. These are cuttlefish, sharks, lionfish, pufferfish, eels, and octopus. So this is a cuttlefish right here. This guy with all like the weird kind of, I don't know what those are, little tentacles by its mouth. And then this is the lionfish, which is super beautiful and it's actually endangered. And then you guys know sharks. I think we've all seen sharks before. So I thought we'd talk about the octopus a little bit. Because I don't know if you guys have heard of the movie that just came out called My Octopus Teacher, but I watched it last weekend and it was super cool. So if you guys want with your grown-ups at home, it's a fun thing to watch. So let me move this over so you guys can see it better. Oop. So octopus are these guys. They have 8 tentacles, which are flexible, and they're really strong, and they're covered in all of these little suckers. Oops. These guys right here. They live a pretty short amount of time. As you guys can see, they can get really big. They can get up to 15 feet long. So, oh, hey, a lot of people have seen the Octopus Teacher too. I love to hear it. But yeah, they can get pretty big in a really short amount of time. So they live like 1 to 5 years, and they can go from like this big to really, really big, 15 feet long. That's as big as some boats. Their superpowers are they expel ink when they're really scared. So the way that like your printer has ink, they have that naturally in their body. And when they get freaked out, they'll just shoot it out into the water to make it super cloudy. And so their predator can't see them anymore. They also can blend in really, really well with the environment around them. Like if you guys think chameleons, how chameleons can kind of change color. Well, octopus can not only change color, but they can make their skin into different textures. So anyone who's seen My Octopus Teacher, sometimes you can see that in the video and it's crazy cool to watch. And also they have no bones in their entire body. It's just super soft and smushy. So their beak, which is like what they eat with, which is right in the middle under this little like umbrella type thing, is the only hard part of their body. So if they can get their beak through something, they can fit their entire body through it, which is crazy because they can have something that's like this big. And if they can get their beak through that, their whole body can fit through the hole. And they actually used to have a really funny problem in aquariums where octopi would get out all the time because they would make small holes in the tanks and stuff because they thought there's no way these octopus can fit through this. But they can, and octopus are super, super smart. So they would just like wander around the aquarium and it was really funny. They had to figure it out. But their only predators really are sharks, that's kind of everybody's predator, I guess. But yeah. Another really beautiful animal that's in coral reefs are the spotted eagle rays. So that's these guys. Yeah, sharks eat octopus. So the spotted eagle rays live for about 20 to 30 years. They have venomous spines in their tail, and that's what they use to kind of like protect themselves. And this pattern is actually really special. So their bellies are white, kind of the way my shirt looks right now. And the tops of their backs are super speckled like this. So from above, they kind of look like the ocean floor. And then from below, if a predator is looking up at them, they only see the white belly and it kind of looks like light from the sun. There's about 16.5 feet long, which is really long. That's like 3 times as tall as most people. Some people eat octopus. I don't think many people eat spotted ray. If you guys know calamari, that's a type of octopus. People eat that. But we can't eat ray. I don't think it would be very tasty. But rays eat clams, shrimp, oysters, and sea urchins. So sea urchins are those kind of spiky balls that in cartoons people sometimes step on them and they hurt really bad. And then their predators are also sharks. That kind of just seems to be a given in a coral reef. And this is the giant clam I was telling you guys about. So it's super beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see that blue really well, but it's gorgeous. They can live up to 100 years, which is crazy. So they get really big. They can get like 500 pounds, which is enormous. It's 4 feet long. That's like a little bit shorter than my arm span. That's probably as tall as some of you guys. They eat nutrients from the algae, just like polyps. And then I think predators is kind of a strong word here, but eels, snails, sea stars, and fish will eat the soft parts of them. So they kind of got to protect against that because it doesn't feel super good. And their superpower is their muscular foot. So you can't see it here, but their muscular foot grows at the bottom here where the two shells meet, and it digs into the ground and it holds it there. And so the entire time it's alive, sometimes 100 years, it can be rooted to one spot with its muscular foot. Just crazy. I don't know if you've ever tried to stay in one spot for 100 years. It's really hard. So we have this quick video that we're all gonna watch real quick.
Many creatures live here throughout the year, and boss of them all is one kind, sharks. There's one, close up. Whatever else you say about sharks, they are so beautiful in the water. Resident predators mean one thing, a plentiful supply of food. For creatures traveling vast distances to get to the reef, that makes osprey a very desirable waypoint on their journey. Seamounts are stopping off points for visitors. They come from far and wide, from tiger sharks to turtles. And they come to refuel and also, it seems, recalibrate.
So yeah, that was about the sharks in the reefs. Since we were talking about them a lot, I thought we could watch a quick video on them. That's another thing if you guys want to watch with your grown-ups at home. David Attenborough, which may be kind of a hard name to remember, does this whole series where he goes down in this little submarine with a clear top and he just like drives around a coral reef, and it's really pretty and really cool. So definitely check it out. But here are just some more beautiful shots that I thought you guys would like to look at. There's sea turtles, there's dolphins, there's all these beautifully colored fish. Just they're absolutely stunning. Yeah. Kayla is right. We did do a session on sharks in the New York City area. Sharks are here. It's very true. And then here's, I just thought this was a cute picture of fish being friends. But so feel free to draw on this, guys. This is a map of different, don't worry, actually, they can't get to us. We're safe on land. They're a little bit further out. But feel free to take a quick look at this maze and see if you guys can get this turtle to his buddy over here. Take a minute to look and then feel free to draw on it if you guys think you have the path figured out. Nice. It looks like a lot of you guys got it so fast. I always put these on here and I think you guys are going to take a couple minutes, and you're all so smart. You do it so quickly. I got to come up with some harder mazes, huh? So like some of the videos said before, I mean, obviously, I think I've made it clear that I think coral reefs are super beautiful and super cool just by themselves. But they're also really, really important to a lot of people to survive, which the video before kind of touched upon a little bit. But clear all drawings. All right, you guys did a great job. So this is some of the reasons why coral reefs are so important. All right. First of all, I don't know if you guys have heard of the word biodiversity. Yes, it's very cool. So coral reefs hold a quarter, that means 1 in 4 of marine species in the ocean, which is crazy because they don't take up that much space, but they're so cool and so many animals live there that it takes up 1 out of 4 animals. A lot of people eat the animals that live in coral reefs. Oh, I love the hearts, guys, but I'm gonna clear the screen so everyone can see. Although the hearts are super cute, but So a lot of people eat the animals that live in coral reefs, and they depend on that. Their whole diet is seafood. There's also a lot of people who travel and spend a lot of money to come see coral reefs. So the towns that live nearby depend on that income source and depend on tourists to come and keep their jobs going. They also protect the coastline. So those towns that people come and travel to see the reefs are obviously really close to the ocean. And the coral reefs help protect the coastline that they live on from big waves coming through and big storms coming through. And they've also done a lot of really cool scientific studies, and they've found a lot of medicines from the animals in coral reefs. They do a lot of research on sharks because sharks don't get cancer. So they're trying to figure out what that is and if we can kind of take some of that so we can help people with cancer now. Yeah, kind of crazy, right? And there's just a lot of different medicines that come from coral reefs. So not are they only cool just because they are, but they also benefit us a lot. So it's really important. And so I don't know if you guys remember in the video, they said that 500 million people depend on coral reefs. And this word has kind of come up a lot today, millions and billions, and it's kind of hard to conceptualize. So I just wanted to go over what million and billion was real quick. So I have this. 1 million is a lot. I think we've all heard of 1 million. And 1 billion, so 500 million people depend on coral reefs, is a lot of people. So if 1 million seconds is about 12 days, 1 billion seconds is 32 years. So there's a big difference, right, between 12 days and 32 years. So I just kind of wanted to put into perspective how many people depend on coral reefs. And if you look at this map, these are all the coral reefs, all the people who depend on coral reefs and how they would do if the coral reef started to disappear. So everywhere with the light green coloring would do really, really bad if coral reefs disappeared. All of these kind of light greens, if coral reefs disappeared, the people would suffer a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of zeros. Billion is a lot. Billion is a lot. And coral reefs are endangered. I know we saw the coral bleaching a little bit in the video. That's really, really big. Coral reefs are super delicate. So anytime they're bumped up against or touched by a tourist, or if a boat goes through them, they get damaged. And that's something that took hundreds or thousands of years to grow, is damaged in a couple of seconds. So they're getting destroyed faster than they can rebuild themselves. And because water is warming up because of global warming, all the coral reefs are getting bleached and they're not super great homes anymore and they're not super good food. And so it's kind of getting thrown really out of whack. This is a picture of that. But don't worry, I know this seems really dismal. And we're going to see what would happen if coral reefs couldn't be around anymore. But there are people who are working hard to protect the coral reefs.
It's some time. What if all coral reefs disappear, huh? Then I will join the Avengers in searching them. Oh, some. A coral reef is an underwater ecosystem which is composed of the skeletons of marine invertebrates called coral. They occupy just 0.1% of the ocean's surface, but support more than 25% of marine life. If coral reefs were to disappear, firstly, there will be a dramatic decline in fish population as they depend on coral reefs for food as well as shelter. Secondly, popular beaches around the world would be in for a shock as coral reefs provide protection to coastal areas by reducing erosion due to ocean waves as well as shielding against the devastating impact of storms, hurricanes, etc. Lastly, tourism would take a huge hit as snorkeling or scuba diving might go out of fashion as the underwater world will no longer be colorful or beautiful. What if oceans were transparent? No problema. I will color them using my some blue paint. Oh, some. Firstly, submarines would lose one of their biggest advantages. Anybody will be able to spot them. Secondly, predators will probably increase in number. It will be difficult for fishes to hide. there will be complete chaos everywhere. Thirdly, temperature of oceans will rise as transparent oceans mean more sunlight. This might be good news for plants which perform photosynthesis, but very bad news for much of marine life, which will not be able to adjust to this increase in temperature. Fourthly, it might prove to be a double-edged sword. While hidden treasures might reveal themselves, but at the same time, tons and tons of human-generated waste hidden inside oceans will suddenly become visible. Lastly, marine life which has evolved in darkness may find it difficult to adopt. What if all the oceans dried up? Then I will go to the...
All right. So, as you guys can see, coral reefs are really important to the ocean ecosystem. And they're really important to all the animals that live with them. So this is just one of the example, are clownfish and sea anemone. Clownfish could not survive without the coral reefs. So sea anemones, these guys right here, the kind of like waving arms, is a cool plant, and coral reefs live inside of the sea anemones. And this is called a symbiotic relationship, which we talked about earlier with the algae and the polyps. So there's this word coming back again, symbiotic relationship. And this is just when two different living beings, which are called organisms, of two different species have a relationship. So we have a bunch of different symbiotic relationships. If you have a dog or a cat or a pet, you have a symbiotic relationship with that pet. You get to feed it and house it, and it gets food and home. And then it makes you really happy and it has tons of fun with you. So you guys have a mutually beneficial relationship. So I just thought we'd go over real quick. These are some of the animals that we learned about. Does anyone remember the name of these animals? You can put it in the chat if you want, or you can unmute yourself. You guys remember any of the names? Does anyone remember?
There's no rush to fill this because it's super low.
Yeah. Starfish. Octopus.
Fish.
Shark. Sea star. Brain coral. Pufferfish. Parrotfish. Clownfish. Mourning eagle. Sea slug. Arctic crab. I said all of them.
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh my gosh, how long have I been muted? Oh, that's embarrassing.
10 or 20 seconds.
10 or, okay, cool. So you guys didn't miss anything too big. These are just some fun facts that we learned today. One that we haven't talked about though is the Hawaiian coral reef. The one in the US is home to 7,000 different species of fish. That's so many. And invertebrates and plants and sea turtles, birds, marine, like 7,000 different species. And that's just in Hawaii, which isn't that even big of an island. And yes, that's crazy. And I was thinking about it, and I think we actually all know some really famous people that live in coral reefs, which are these guys. Who watches SpongeBob here? Does anyone watch SpongeBob? Was that just me? Raise your, do the like hand raisey emoji if you watch SpongeBob. Okay, cool. We got a couple. Well, I grew up watching SpongeBob. It's still my favorite show. And these are all animals that really live in coral reefs. And you can
Earlier, when you said like about, hang on. When you were talking about plankton, when
I just muted everyone and you can't unmute yourself unless you raise your hand, okay? Alana, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm unmuting me. When I was talking about plankton, I was talking about this guy. I don't know if you guys remember me saying that, but he's named after a real animal, and these are all real animals that live in coral reefs. And this is very accurate, actually. Starfish living under a rock. You can see coral in all of these pictures. SpongeBob, a sponge. And Bikini Bottom is actually a real place. This is the picture in the show, but this is the Bikini Atoll. You guys remember the ring of coral that it's named after, and that is off the coast of Australia. So that's a real spot. So next time you watch SpongeBob, it's actually more of a documentary than a cartoon if you think about it. But if you guys have ever seen Finding Nemo too, these are all also reef animals. We got our giant ray that we were talking about, and this is Nemo and his dad are clownfish. Oh, Alexander, what's up?
I was saying, hang on.
Oh, do not, I think your microphone is kind of wonky. Maybe you can put it in the chat. And I can, oh yeah, you read that? Oh, that's awesome. Or no, you said that. Yeah, about plankton. That's true. And see, these are all animals that we saw earlier that live in reefs. So I know we learned a lot about how reefs are getting destroyed, which is kind of a bummer, but there are so many people that are dedicated to protecting them. There's the Coral Reef Alliance, the Coral Reef Conservation Program, which is right here in Florida, Reef Check, Project Aware, the Wildlife Conservation Society, which is actually here in New York, and the Great Barrier Reef Foundation. And there's you guys. There's so many things that you guys can do every day to help protect coral reefs. If you guys use a lot of chemicals, don't put them down the drain and don't put them on any plants you have outside. And you can look and find some biodegradable like shampoos and body washes and that kind of thing. And then also, if you go to Nickelodeon, you can become a junior citizen of the reef today, just like SpongeBob and Patrick. Oops. So yeah, there's tons of things that you guys can do to help protect the reefs and become part of the team that protects the reefs. And it looks like it's 5:30. Oh shoot, okay, our time is up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or as everyone leaves, I'll unmute people. I know you guys have something else you gotta get to, but thanks for coming today, guys. I'm really excited about it. You're writing out, thanks. Bye guys, everyone that has to go, you're welcome to go. It's good to see you.
See you next week, 4:30 every week.
Bye.